Welcome to Joy News today with me, Francisca Kakra-Forson. A 45-year-old polling station youth organizer at Oyarifa has picked nomination forms to contest President Mahama. The National Democratic Congress opened nominations last week as the party prepares for its parliamentary and presidential primaries on November 7. Speaking to Joy News' Kwachi Afre-Nyama after picking his forms, George Boateng says President Mahama has failed to improve the plight of the poor in the country.
Yeah, my record in party, I'm a secret member in the party, which I'm working for the party secret.
What do you mean by secret?
If I say secret, in party is part of group. And the group, we have people that they don't show their face out. I've been a secret all the while, since from the PNDC era to the NDC era.
Why do you want to contest President John Mahama? This is a man that many in your party have said is doing a good job, should be allowed to go for a second term.
No, because we don't do democracy like that. We are now on democracy. There's no need that President Mahama, His Excellency President Mahama, have to go, or that nobody contesting him. It's no, and that's not good for democracy. So I want you, the press, to fight against that issue. It becomes, this is not democracy. If you want proper democracy, any leader have to submit himself for contest. If you win, fine. It means that the grassroots people want you or they need you. This is the time that there's no more delegate. This is about grassroots. And we are going to see this one. The president cannot buy chief executive or a minister or another a party executive. So this is the time that to know that if president is a pauper or not.
So that's George Boateng, and he will be contesting the president in the NDC primaries. We'll see how that pans out. Now, counsel for Charles Entry, the mentally ill man jailed for illegal gun possession, has described the reversal of his conviction as a victory for the rule of law. Mr. Entry's 10-year jail sentence was quashed today following an appeal by human rights lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu. Charles Entry was found with a weapon in the church where President Mahama worships, with security agents claiming that he had reportedly intended to kill the president. His lawyer welcomed today's verdict as the right one.
It is a landmark ruling because there has been unfortunate twists, to the issue, particularly with regards to the presidency, His Excellency George Mahama's life and all that. And that is what have given it all this euphoria. Otherwise, this is a clear case of a lunatic who is a danger to himself and to the society and who needs help. But unfortunately, he became a victim of his own actions.
Charles would have served 10 years, but for your intervention. Now, the BNI last week were here ready to pick him up if he were released on that very day. What's running through your mind right now, thinking that, okay, if Charles should be released to the psychiatric hospital for treatment, BNI officials could pick him up for the retrial to begin? What's running through your mind?
Well, I stand for justice, and justice for all. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And if the justice of the matter requires Charles Entry to stand for trial, why not? Except that what must be done has been prescribed by the court. The court has clearly prescribed that this person must be mentally examined. If he's mentally examined and the medical doctor's report shows that at the point of Charles's action, Charles had the mental ability to understand what he did, why not? He must be prosecuted to face the full rigors of the law.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, is a party in the case, and he was in court.
The law recognizes that we human beings can always make an error. And if an error is made, there is a mechanism, there is an institution to correct that error. And that is what has been done. So the court here has proven that, yes, we are in an era where if a mistake is made, it can be corrected. And so it's been corrected duly. So this guy is being brought for us to assess and if need be, to treat him before the court can proceed. So I think I'm really excited.
You feel you've been vindicated?
Very vindicated.
Now, how soon do we...
I will say vindicated, not me, but Ghanaians, the greater majority of Ghanaians who have been watching the proceedings, who even before the court case recognize that this person is unwell, we've all been vindicated.
So how soon should we expect Charles' entry at your office, the psychiatric hospital, for re-examination?
Well, in fairness, they will need to go through their procedure. He's there for now legally in custody or in prison, and they will need to go through procedure to say that this is what the law courts are saying, and therefore, obviously some procedure and bureaucracy will go through. So today is most unlikely, but in the next 3-4 days, I expect him to be brought to us.
A former Minister for Local Government, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, has joined many calls for tomorrow to be declared a holiday. This, he believes, will whip up interest in the district-level elections and increase turnout. Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo also said it's impossible for vote buying in the elections at the local level because it is micromanaged by the Commission.
Assembly should be seen as a breeding grounds to build the capacity of our politicians. That is why I even expect young people to move in, and I also expect very experienced people to also move in, because we have statutory committees like the FNA, Finance and Administration Committee. You need somebody with a finance background to be able to interpret the trial balance and the financial statement of, say, AMA. You have the Justice and Security Committee, which is dealing with bylaws and others. You need somebody with legal background to help the Assembly craft their bylaws. So I think that we need to encourage, and I think that the media ought to play some proactive role in it.
The way you say that, because we've also heard from the NCC saying that some political parties are actually doing vote buying ahead of this election.
I haven't heard of it, and I don't know what vote buying is about in an assembly election. How are you going to buy votes in an assembly election? The assembly election is micromanaged, and I can tell you that people know the substance, what people are made of in their locality. And sometimes, if you introduce too much partisanship into it, you will tend to suffer, because the people are looking at micro issues, issues of bread and butter, issues that affect their day-to-day lives. They know people who can lead them to do communal labor. They know people who can respond to their needs when they call them. So sometimes they go beyond partisan consideration and vote for people that they know can do the work for them. So I do not think at all that if you decide to go and do vote buying, you may succeed in this exercise.
It's a fruitless one.
Well, I think it's a wild goose chase.
Okay. Last question. There have been suggestions that tomorrow should be a holiday to enable people to go and vote. Do you think that's the way to go?
Well, I think if that is done, that alone will heighten the attention of people that something is happening. Why are we not going to work today? The bottom line is that because of assembly election. So if I'm not going to work, what do I do? Let me get up and go and queue. You see, if people are going to work, how many people will go in the morning and queue? And then the traffic situation, people want to get up very early, beat the traffic and get to the office. So and again, people also registered in their various constituencies. In the general election, people went to their constituencies and registered because they wanted to be part and parcel of deciding who becomes their members of parliament. Today, their votes are in their constituencies. If they are supposed to participate in this assembly election, they are supposed to go to those constituencies and vote. If they are going to work, how are they going to do it? So even if it is not declared as a public holiday, I think MMDA should be the heads should be asked to relax the attendance procedures so that people who want to travel outside their jurisdiction to go and participate in the assembly election could go without any punishment being meted out to them.
Meanwhile, the Dean of Graduate Studies and Research at the Institute of Local Government, Dr. Eric Odrosai, has asked heads of security agencies to ensure their personnel are not disenfranchised. Over 2,000 personnel have been deployed to police the polls, which will come off tomorrow. But the Electoral Commission has not said anything about special voting for the security personnel. He was speaking on the AM show.
This is also, remember, it's a dress rehearsal to the 2016 elections. So the security may have a lot of strategies that they want to implement or they want to roll out come 2016. So they can use this period to test from some of their strategies. One thing that I'm not sure of is whether or not they are going to allow special voting or voting by proxy. Because if you are deploying all these security men outside of their electoral areas, how are they going to vote? Already we want the voter participation to increase. So what I would call on the security agencies to do is that they should be very careful in deploying their people to make sure that they don't disenfranchise them when it comes to voting. And I don't also know whether the Electoral Commission is going to allow special voting or voting by proxy when it comes to security officers.
There's been some concerns though, because apart from the fact that some of the persons standing affiliated to some political parties, we're told some of them are buying votes.
That is rather unfortunate. People are not supposed to buy votes. When you look at the rationale behind the district level elections, you have to stand on your own integrity. This is a way of promoting nationalism and commitment to nation and issues of integrity. So if you have to go all out and then buy vote, then it means you are not worth voting for. Aside of that, people who accept monies to pay to vote for people are not people we should trust in society. So I think these things would have to be discouraged. The various political parties who are found to be culpable in supporting or allowing candidates to use their emblems would also have to be cautioned, because
And you're watching Joy News today with me, Francisca Kakrafos. And the Ashanti Regional Director of the National Commission for Civic Education, or NCC, Alassane Yakubu, has urged candidates in the upcoming district-level elections to refrain from vote buying. He said reports that some of them were doling out cash and making unrealistic promises to woo voters were disheartening and not healthy for local governance. Mr. Alassane Yakubu earlier told me they have been discouraging people from vote buying. He added the NCC was doing a lot to whip up interest.
It's a wrong thing for a voter to request for money or whatever motivation before you go and vote. Voting, as we all know, according to the Constitution, is a civic right, and therefore it is wrong for somebody to ask an aspirant or a candidate to give him money or any kind of reward before he goes to vote. I haven't seen any, and nobody has confessed to me that he or she has been given money to go and vote or to be voted for. But we all know that in past elections, when it comes to parliamentary and presidential, people are bashed to the various polling stations and given some other rewards. That one, in the parliamentary and the general election, we are all aware. But it's now descending to the unit committee and district level. That's our worry, because the assembly persons are not being paid. All we know is that they are given pittance as their travel allowance when they attend meetings. They give them their travel allowances. They don't have any problem. I don't have any problem with it. But the problem I have is that the monetization of our democracy is going down to the district level, where people are asking for monies or other things before they go to vote. So, and we're saying that we should discourage that kind of thing, because it's against our democratic rules and so on.
The district-level elections seem to have issues beyond vote buying. Joy News' Fred Smith spent some time in his community in the Atani electoral area, where some residents say their assembly members discriminate against them on grounds of party affiliation. Some candidates in tomorrow's district-level elections have told Joy News they've been approached by political parties which want to sponsor their campaign. In return, the parties want the successful candidate to support their parliamentary and presidential candidates in the 2016 general elections. This is part of views picked up by Joy News' Fred Smith as he returned to his electoral area.
Taten is located at Odoko in the Ablekuma North constituency here in the Greater Accra region. I returned here. I've lived here for 8 years myself, and I returned to this community to find out how the district level election set to come off tomorrow is shaping up, and I'll be speaking to some residents who are here with me now. I'll start with you. What's your name first?
My name is Mr. Atani Delali.
Great, and we have some of your colleagues here. Let's hear you. What's your name?
My name is Pakwesi.
Pakwesi. And you are?
You are Utu Vanderboy.
You are an aspirant for the assembly position. Is it a case that some of your colleagues or even yourself you've meddled in politics, or you're associated in some way to some political party that your constituents feel so strongly about?
I don't think so, but the reason is because the way, the manner of some of our colleagues handle their campaign, you'll be thinking they are putting politics into their, aspiring position.
Which way is it? Has that got to do with the colors they use or the way they talk?
Exactly, the colors that most of the people use. I mean, when you look at one of the candidates using the party colors.
Of which party?
You can see a red color, you can see a white and blue color, but which is not good. That's why my dad is saying that. So I think, but now it's cool because the EC people has addressed on that issue. So I think it's cool.
There's no problem there. Daddy, you tell us, what are you looking for in the assembly member that will be elected here tomorrow?
Yes. See, I prefer an assembly member who will be neutral. See, as he rightly said, if I want to, I'm very frank. I'm an old headmaster. The current, the one who has left, there was a time he was changing the street bulbs. When he reached my end there, because I was not in line with him, he told him point blank that he's not going to face the light.
In line with him in terms of what? In terms of political affiliations?
Yeah, because I wasn't at his party. If I tell you, Papo, you know where he is. But I wasn't there. So he intentionally refused to face my light.
So you mean he was selective in
he was
fixing bulbs in the community?
He was replacing the old bulbs. But when he came there, he intentionally removed the old bulb. He didn't replace it. I questioned him.
It's because you are not in his party.
Exactly. So I decided I will not vote for him.
But will you be voting tomorrow?
Oh yes, I'm a citizen. I'm a registered voter. Can I show you my ID card?
Show it. We'd like to see it. Great, so you're all set for tomorrow. Let's hear from the others. Are you participating in the vote?
Yeah, they need to come power. But if they come power, they didn't work. They didn't do anything. But by the way, I'm NDC man.
You are an NDC
man? Yeah. I lost my vote because if they come power, they need to beg. They come power, they didn't do anything. So I don't trust myself I'll vote.
So you don't want to vote?
I don't want to vote.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Francisca Kakra-Force, and let's take our first break right now. Welcome back to Joy News Today. Commercial drivers of petrol and gas tankers, trucks carrying goods, taxis and trotros in Tema have parked their vehicles as part of their protest against expensive motor insurance premiums. Their one-week strike is also against the DVLA's education requirements for a driver's license. The insurance premium has gone up by about 400%. The drivers say these measures will put them out of business. They say if their concerns are not addressed, the strike will go beyond a week. Francis Apia speaks for the Committed Drivers Association.
Yeah, we are not moving. We have stopped work. We are here as I'm talking to you. If they were saying we are not recognized, we are in drivers in this country. We are from all the unions in Ghana here. Some are GPRTU, Cooperative, Tiger, Protoa, all the unions. We formed that pressure group. So if they were telling us that they don't know us or something, we don't understand what they were saying, because we are members of the drivers, and the Committed Drivers Association is the drivers.
Okay.
Not excuse me to saying that Mason or something. What we are expecting that they will reduce the insurance 100%, and DVLA to stop what they were saying, that if you are not educated, they won't give you.
And if that doesn't happen?
Come again?
If they don't do that for you, what happens?
Oh, if it is caught or something, then that one, the strike will go more than 1 month.
Kwame Yanka is our reporter in Tema at the port. He joins us on the telephone. Kwame, what more can you tell us about the strike by the commercial drivers?
Well, I'm currently at the Golden Jubilee Terminal at the Tema Harbour, where members of these of the association are also on strike in solidarity with the group. Now, over here, this Monday, a very busy, difficult day, but then when you come around, the place is very quiet. There's nothing going on. Drivers are parked. Crane agents are just hovering around. Container vehicles are just not, working as it were. And it is also different from their colleagues that the tanker drivers are happy to pass by at Tema refinery, where gas tanker drivers are also in solidarity with the group. So they are also not working today, as well as white products. So it's quite widespread. But then today, for commercial drivers, it's not very. They are not part of the action today. But what I'm gathering is that leadership will get in touch, and by tomorrow, commercial drivers will also join. So when you come around, yes, commercial drivers are in town working, but from tomorrow, they're also likely to be on strike.
So Kwame, can we say that it hasn't had much impact on commuters?
No. Unlike the 1st June one, where a lot of people had to walk have to walk distance for just being able to move from one place to the other, because for the 1st June, it was very effective. Roads were blocked and all that. But for today, vehicles are moving about in town doing their normal business. But it was the goods carrying vehicles which are actually not working today.
And Kwame, you are referring to an earlier strike on 1st June. But can you or have you been able to get an understanding from these trotro and taxi drivers if they will join the strike tomorrow?
Well, it's a divide. Well, it's a mixed feeling, because for some, yes, they would want to have this insurance thing resolved once and for all. To others, parking their vehicles and not working also affect their source of livelihood. So it's a mixed feeling among these drivers.
Okay, that's our sister station, Adum FM's Kwame Yanka, bringing us those details. Authorities of the city of Accra have yet another slum to deal with if urgent steps are not taken. A new slum is springing up very fast along the Accra-Tema motorway. Joy News' Latif Idris visited the slum and reports more structures are coming up as new settlers troop to the area from across the country.
Mensagini is gone, Sodom and Gomorrah is gone, and Al Jazeera is also gone. Now, all these were slums in the national capital. But today, there is an emerging slum on the Accra-Tema motorway. The number of unauthorized structures in this area is increasing by the day as more people find refuge here. Settlers here who are connected to the national grid told the news team they pay their electricity bill regularly to the appropriate quarters.
But for our intervention, this place would have been a mess. Yes, we are connected to the national grid and we pay our bills.
This place used to be a refuse dump and a place for open defecation for people who live around. But as you can see, we came in and we cleared the whole place. And it is good for us. Development problems associated with the emergence of slums in the city include security issues such as robberies and drug peddling, as suspects believe the phenomenon tends to attract criminals. The recent spate of robberies in Amanfro has been associated with displaced criminals from some of the slums. Joy News will bring you developments on the trend. However, the sooner authorities deal with the emergence of new slums, the better for the nation. Latif Idris, Joy News, Accra-Tema motorway.
Let's now get the latest headlines in business. Welcome to Business on Joy News today. At least 540 workers of the 5 destination inspection companies will be jobless after today because of government's decision to end its contracts with their companies. They have officially petitioned President Mahama to consider a transitional period for the handover to the Customs Division of GRA and their integration into the single window scheme at the ports. Carl Soa is a spokesman for workers of the 5 companies.
All we are pleading for is job security. They should absorb our skills. They should try to use our skills. From a few that we've seen from our president, we are hopeful. He would definitely make the request. I'm very hopeful. And like I said, we will all come back here for a party very soon because he will grant our petition. Really? And for the redundancy package, I think management, once it's in the CBA, it is enshrined by law. And so if we are to go, definitely we will get those redundancy packages.
Now, we know a human rights court has dismissed an application filed by a clearing agent, the implementation of the single window scheme at the ports. This comes after a similar action by another court on July 31. Michael Kweku Jan is praying the court to stop government from going ahead with the process. According to him, sole source and IT company solutions company West Blue for the project is in breach of the Procurement Act, and we are trying to reach our man Kuku Aban, who was at the court. If we do not have him, we can move on. But also, we are learning that ADB has finally resumed the sale of its shares to the public. This was after the bank secured approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission. That's it for business. Okay, just quickly before we wrap up on business, I'm told that I have Kuku Aban on the telephone line. He is at the Human Rights Court. Kuku, give us the latest from the court. Hello, Kuku.
Hello, Francisca.
Yes, Kuku, we understand that the Human Rights Court has dismissed the application that was filed by a clearing agent. Tell us more.
Well, Francisca, according to the judge, Kenneth Okwabi, it was actually a pretty quick decision he gave. He's saying that although the plaintiff has capacity as a businessman and has also expressed his desire to work, he has actually locus to file the case. But he went ahead to say that, well, there was nothing to be preserved in this case, in that the decision has been taken. Government has awarded the contract based on the documents before him. All that he's seen indicates that the contract has already been sealed and it's just about being implemented. So there is nothing that can be done to, if you like, remedy something. So he's just dismissing the case. And he's saying that, well, the deal as per the document before him, it's an injunction that he cannot actually uphold.
Kuku, have you been able to get the clearing agent's reaction or from his lawyers?
Well, actually, there was a lawyer representing the plaintiff in court, although the lead counsel was not there. The plaintiff was represented by Madame Koko, and according to her, she's not satisfied with this ruling. The full case has not been given to them. That's the ruling itself, the detailed one. So they're going to request for it, study it, and then pursue it at a higher court. So the indication she's giving is that they will pursue it at the Supreme Court. So I even asked her that the implementation of the exercise starts tomorrow, and so why would they go ahead to do this? And she referred to the Fisherman's case in the unit and district assembly elections, that whatever time it will take, a decision will be given, and they are quite confident it will go in their favor.
Very well, we'll leave it here. Kuku Aban reporting from the Human Rights Court. ADB has finally resumed the sale of its shares to the public. This was after the bank secured approval from the Securities and Exchange Commission to go ahead with the initial public offering. My colleague George Uafe has been going through a public notice issued by the bank and joins me on the phone with more. George, has ADB been able to clear all the legal hurdles to go ahead with the IPO?
Basically, it's interesting because when you go through the offer document that they've actually announced to the public, they themselves acknowledge that basically there are some pending cases at the Supreme Court. But despite these cases, they are really allowed to go ahead with the offer. I called up the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and he actually explained to me that basically the current suit or application to the Supreme Court is not about the initial public offering, but rather the argument that they should come to, that is, ADB should have gone to Parliament for approval on this whole process. And therefore, they thought that it doesn't affect the offer, and that is why SEC, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, actually approved this offer. So they agree that there are cases pending in court, but they think it doesn't affect this whole process, and that is why they've gone ahead with the offer. And they've actually gotten the blessing of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Judge, when will the notice end, and also tell us a possible listing on the stock exchange?
Well, the date for them is that you're looking at November 9th for the listing, and then also November 1st on November 5 on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and possibly this offer ending on October 9. So if the offer is able to raise the required amount as well as the number of shares that they're hoping to sell, then they will go ahead and list on the Ghana Stock Exchange in November.
And Judge, you've been speaking with the Securities and Exchange Commission. What have they been saying?
Well, they are saying that they went ahead to approve this because they think that the current case pending in court doesn't affect this process, and that is why they actually approved it. So the offer can go ahead.
And industry players, what are their reactions?
Well, interesting, because there are some people who still think that why doesn't ADB want to take its time and address all these legal issues before the offer can go ahead. There's another school of thought.
You doing sports?
The other school of thought that maybe if they are planning on bringing in some private investors, more of a little bit of a mix of retail clients and a lot of institutional investors, which they've already secured their commitment. But their fear is that post-listing, the bank could be punished seriously. Look what's currently going on.
Okay, that's George Riafe with Joy Business Desk. Thank you very much for that update on ADB. And that's it for the business segment. And that's how we wrap up on Joy News today on Multi TV. Before we go, a quick look at our headlines. 45-year-old polling station youth organizer Ato Yarifa picks nomination forms to contest President Mahama. Also, counsel for Charles Entry, the mentally ill man jailed for illegal gun possession, describes the reversal of his conviction as a victory for the rule of law. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. My name is Francisca Kakwa Forson. Thank you very much for your company.